Hello again, everyone. Vanessa Kelman here. So, I've been talking a lot about my fiction. I've been talking about all of the books that I like to write, the genres, the characters, and I tend to kind of gloss over or ignore the nonfiction part. So, while I do write primarily fiction, and that is my passion, I think it's important to also highlight the nonfiction that I've written, primarily with the A Life You Want brand, if you will. I have that book and I have that website. And it really ties in with my fiction because in fiction, my characters are overcoming challenges and figuring out what they want and how to get where they want. And with the nonfiction, with the A Life You Want, it's the same thing except the readers can apply it to their own lives and they can get tips and suggestions and resources to help them reach their own goals and help them overcome their own challenges and get where they want to be. So, over the next few weeks at least, I'm hoping to share a bit more about what that kind of looks like, right? So I'm making Fridays my goal Friday, and I'm going to share a little bit about my process, my goals, not too much detail because, privacy and all that. We're all entitled to our own personal details, but enough that you can get a feel for how I'm actually walking the walk, I guess. That I'm not just, talking about what other people should do, but how I'm actually applying these things to my own life, right? And I touched on that in a little bit with the story behind the story for A Life You Want and how I was motivated to write that. But it's an ongoing process. I have so many goals, probably too many goals. Um, but I am always trying to grow and challenge myself and get my own life where I want it to be. It's a never ending process, really. Um, so I wanted to share a little bit about what that looks like in my life to maybe give you a little bit of motivation in your own life as well. So Fridays, I'm going to be sharing a bit about my goals and how I plan on reaching them. So, in this first video, I wanted to just explain a little bit about my own process. And then next week, I will start jumping into actual content about my own goals. So, what I have found to be very useful for me is I like visuals. I am a visual kind of person. I like to be able to read what I need to do, write down what I need to do, be able to track what I need to do, and then be able to see a visual representation of what I have already accomplished. I love checking things off lists. I'm a big fan of that. But a step further, because it's easy to write a check mark, I want it to feel more like I accomplished something, right? And this is just me being me. But if you happen to be the same way, if you like either that visual motivation or you just like that little mini reward to feel like you accomplished something, maybe this will work for you too. So there is a website, and I'm going to share the link in the little notes, um, called Debt Free Charts, and they have created a whole bunch of different charts, different designs, different formats. That the primary goal was to track your debt so that you can see how you're paying it off. But she's extended to other things as well, and many of the charts, even if their original purpose was to show how you're paying off your debt, they can be applied to other things too, right? So she's got a bunch of these 100 doodles sheets, and I have kind of taken some of those and repurposed them. So I'm going to give you kind of a sneak peek. So this is one of them. This is the 100 tiny houses. And I have taken this, you might even see here, that my goal is a clean house. Yes, that is definitely one of my goals. My house is a disaster area, but I don't want it to be. So, what I do is I make a list with a whole bunch of tasks, and some of them are easy and some of them are harder. So, some of them are easy to check off, and some of them take a bit more. But the idea is because there are 100 doodles, that I have 100 tasks to get to where my goal is, right? To my ultimate goal of a clean house. Now, some of them are easy, like I said. So it's really just, I make Goodwill donations once a month, right? To try to clear out some of the clutter that's in my house. So I drop off some stuff, check it off. And for every item that I check off, I color in a little house. So I can kind of keep visual track of how far I've gotten, and it makes it feel a little more important than just checking off. Now, I try not to do the simple things for this. I don't say, clean the bathroom. I don't check it off because that's just a regular chore. It kind of has to get done all the time. So, this is more for clearing up the clutter, which is what my primary goal is. There is also one here with plants. This is for my garden. I haven't been doing so hot with this one, but that's a goal too. So a fruitful garden is my goal here. And then I've got financial freedom with these little money doodles. Same kind of concept with a whole bunch of tasks. And then ready for anything. I like to kind of prepare for emergencies and such. So I have that as my goal. This one here is actually education doodles. It seemed to be the one that applied the best of the options there. And then for my business, my writing business, we have to have books, of course, 100 books to my goal. So there are all kinds of different designs like this with the doodles. And she's got other things too. If your goal is for the financial for paying off debt or reaching savings goals, there are a whole bunch of different charts that are different styles and images and formats. So you can kind of keep track of that too. So I find that helpful for me. Now, with the 100, that can seem a little overwhelming, right? To have 100 tasks. That's why I kind of make some of them quick and simple, but it's also a good way to break down bigger tasks. So if you have, you want to clean your kitchen, well, that's a big task and it's going to take you a long time to reach that. So, what I do is I make like mini goals that I set up as my tasks. So, if cleaning the kitchen is the goal, I break that down into smaller tasks, and then each of those smaller tasks becomes an item on my task list here to color in a doodle. So, things like cleaning out the fridge or, scrubbing the floor, whatever your tasks are, reorganizing a particular cabinet, whatever that happens to be. That, for example, with the cleaning the kitchen, it's not just clean kitchen because that's a giant task. You break it down to the smaller tasks and it makes it easier to hit that 100, but it's also easier to check things off, which keeps you motivated to keep going. So the same concept can be broken down to any of your big goals so that you can kind of see things as you go. And even if you don't have 100 tasks right away, that's okay because what I have found is that as I'm working this process, I come up with more tasks. I'm like, oh, I can't do that until I do this and this and this. Or because I did that, now I'm seeing that these things need to get done. So then I'm adding more tasks or just stuff comes to mind, right? Things that maybe your goals change slightly or you forgot to add something. So even if you don't have 100 to start off with, you kind of add to it and build up, and eventually you'll get there. And even if you never hit the 100, even just seeing yourself coloring in those doodles and seeing the progress that you've made and how much you've been accomplishing, that can be great too. You can combine a couple different goals, or you can just see how far you can get and keep it going. So that's a little bit about my personal progress, what I have felt works best for me. I will share more tips and tricks as I go along and a little bit of information on my personal goals and how I'm reaching them. So hopefully you'll stick with me for my Goal Fridays. Be sure to check out the hashtag that I'm going to be creating for that as well. And until next time, have a great day.